Somewhere in Antarctica right now, a full-grown adult is standing perfectly still in a blizzard, balancing an egg on his feet, refusing to eat for over 100 days. Because that is apparently a normal Tuesday if you're a penguin. Today, on Guess What I Found Out, we're following one animal from the day it's born to the day it dies. And stick around, because the middle of this story involves losing every feather on your body at once, which is exactly as horrifying as it sounds. Let's give our subject a nickname before we start, because scientific names are boring and this bird deserves better. We're calling them the Tuxedo toddlers, because that's essentially what they are, small, formally dressed animals who cannot walk in a straight line to save their lives. There are around 18 species of them alive today, from the knee-high little penguin to the roughly 4-foot-tall emperor, and every single one gave up flying entirely somewhere around 60 million years ago in exchange for becoming genuinely excellent at swimming instead. Which honestly undersells it, because the Tuxedo toddlers used to be enormous. Fossil hunters have dug up ancient relatives like Kumimanu, a penguin from roughly 60 million years ago that stood nearly 6 feet tall and weighed more than most adult men, and another giant species that may have topped 2 meters. Picture today's dinner-jacketed waddler, except it's taller than you, staring you dead in the eyes on a beach. Evolution eventually downsized the whole family, but it kept the tuxedo. Life for a tuxedo toddler starts with dating. Gentoo penguins handle this by searching the entire beach for the single most perfect pebble, sorting through dozens of mediocre rocks like a picky shopper, then presenting the winner to a potential partner like a tiny grey engagement ring. If she accepts it, they build a nest together and raise chicks as equal partners for the rest of their lives, splitting incubation duty right down the middle. If she rejects it, he goes back to pebble shopping, which is somehow both adorable and deeply relatable, because honestly, who among us hasn't had our best gift rejected? Once a couple actually has an egg, things get extreme fast, especially for emperor penguins. The father balances the egg on his feet, tucked under a warm fold of skin, and does not move, does not eat, does not do anything except stand there in temperatures that can hit -60 degrees for roughly 2 months straight. Add in the weeks before egg-laying, where he's already fasting, and some males go up to 115 days without a single meal, all while huddling shoulder to shoulder with hundreds of other dads in a slow-rotating football scrum just to survive the cold. By the time Mum gets back from her own hunting trip, Dad has lost close to half his body weight. That is not a diet plan. That is a hostage situation with better PR, and he did it voluntarily on purpose as a parenting strategy. If watching an animal survive 100 days without snacks makes you want to hit subscribe out of solidarity, now's a genuinely great time to do it. Here's the part where it gets genuinely brutal, so brace yourself, because this is where the cute part of the video ends for a minute. Only about 1 in 5 emperor penguin chicks survives its first year, and some seasons the odds are grimmer than that. The chicks huddle together in a group called a crèche, which sounds fancy but is really just a toddler mosh pit for warmth and safety, and they somehow learn to recognize their own parents' calls out of hundreds of screaming strangers. The ones that wander off, get sick, or just get unlucky become an easy meal for skuas and giant petrels circling overhead, birds that treat a crèche the way you treat a buffet. Nature did not sign a safety waiver here, and it never planned to. The chicks that do make it eventually molt out of their fluffy baby down and head for open water for the first time, which is somehow an even more dangerous moment, because that's exactly where leopard seals are waiting. Once a young Tuxedo toddler survives that gauntlet, it becomes one of the more impressive athletes on the planet, spending most of its adult life hunting krill, fish and squid in genuinely absurd conditions. Emperor penguins have been recorded diving over 560 meters deep, deeper than almost anything else with lungs, and staying under for more than half an hour on a single breath, all without so much as a snorkel. Gentoos, meanwhile, go the speed route, blasting through the water at over 20 miles an hour, making them the fastest swimming birds alive, which is a genuinely strange sentence to say about a creature that trips over its own feet on land. And then, once a year, adulthood delivers its cruelest joke. Every single feather falls out at once in what scientists actually call a catastrophic molt, which is a wildly honest name for anything in biology. Before it starts, a smart Tuxedo toddler gorges itself and packs on extra fat because it knows what's coming. For 2 to 3 weeks, it's stuck on land, unable to swim because it's lost its waterproofing, unable to eat because swimming is how it eats, slowly losing over half its body weight all over again while looking genuinely like it lost a bet, patchy, molting and deeply unbothered by how ridiculous it looks to every tourist with a camera. So here's the real question. Would you rather survive the 100-day fasting incubation, the crèche predator gauntlet, the first terrifying swim past waiting leopard seals, or the annual naked and starving molt? Tell me which stage of Tuxedo toddler life would break you first, and be honest, I want to see your reasoning in the comments. If extreme survival in brutal cold sounds familiar, go check out our episode on the Greenland shark, another animal that treats freezing to death as a lifestyle choice rather than a threat. A typical Tuxedo toddler that survives all of this might live 15 to 20 years in the wild, occasionally pushing further, quietly, unglamorously, mostly just trying not to become lunch for a leopard seal, a shark, or an orca that showed up at the wrong moment. Death, for most of them, is unremarkable in the most literal sense. No drama, no headline, no funeral. Just one more animal that quietly ran out of luck in an unforgiving place. But here's the sobering twist to end on. As of this year, emperor penguins were officially reclassified as endangered, after scientists watch the Antarctic sea ice they depend on for literally every stage of this life cycle start disappearing faster than expected. Some colonies have already lost around 10% of their adults in under a decade, and researchers now project the total population could be cut in half within the next several decades if current trends continue. An animal that can survive 100 days of starvation and a 500-meter free dive still can't outswim a melting continent. A couple videos back, we talked about giraffes evolving their necks through millions of years of trial, error, and stubborn debate among scientists. This is the same theme, wearing a very different, very cold costume. Evolution spent 60 million years over-engineering an animal that can starve for months, dive deeper than a submarine, and shrug off blizzards that would kill a person in minutes, then handed it a problem it never had time to adapt to, one caused entirely by the species watching it on YouTube right now. That tension between what nature perfected over unimaginable stretches of time and what we're changing in a matter of decades is basically the whole reason this channel exists. Like this video, subscribe right now if you haven't, and I'll see you next time we follow something remarkable from its first breath all the way to its last. See you there, Curious George.